插的是什么孔？
我看你带个梯子
啊，
对，是
吧？
对对对。
哎，你进来了吗？我上去了。
你是得上，再不上不是你接了。
那不是我，那不是我接了，是不是也挺好的？让他接一场，让他接一场。行好。哎，
你看这行
太晚了，
他往这边挪一点点。这都正常的。
今天啊，唯独的好处什么？就2个人，所以你
对，我就插一个小空就 OK 了。
有时候镜头没什么区别。不是，他是不是能插进来？有腿。
别影响你。
不是你这也太业余了，这怎么这么矮啊？你这
我这高啊，我这
哦，
他这有棍儿，
有棍儿，那你升点，你升高点好，
显得专业。
你再升点，真太低了。看你，
我先拍画面，一会儿。下雨呢。
站前面那个。
放哪儿？
原来是经济舱跟公务舱。
我们这儿还1月3000块钱还。
那您胳膊我没事，
原来经济舱呢，现在变成公务舱。
这多好啊！您先吧，
刚才央视做直播的时候挪的。
是吧？他挪
挪完没挪回去。
不是我挪的啊。
哎呀，没事，我这是跟您说一下，恢复原样。
应该能放下。
能放。
可以点。
啊，这儿。那3。
老孟这个向前一步，
向前一步。
北京台那节目
啊，大型道德绑架。
这是雨鞋。
不是说今天下一天雨，那我是不下了，不舍得把自己的鞋掏了。哦，那个四季呢？
四季。
又什么又？我才不相信，赶紧。这个
还没琢磨现在经济怎么用。
是这个吧？
去钱都找不来。
没有，这是什么？
这是吗？
什么
我不认
干电
识。
视人用一下？
这是我自己买的。
是这个吗？
是。
我插这儿了。
你插。你不插那屋去，你在屋里。
这边没地儿了。
什么？你还换这机器啊？我操！他妈都服了。
多好，新的4K。
多难呐！你这
新的了。
你这多少锁纹3700肯定不行。
是我这调的他妈原来这是3200，3400。
这是个弱智机器吧？这减配。
对，这光圈都不恒定。
锁不死吗？不可能。
不是，你看啊，比方说我调到最大光4啊，非常高，好几伏。
啊，不是，它是那个不是横定光圈的头，咱们头很多都，咱们正常头都是横定光圈。
对，
它就是都哪儿都刺嘛，这单位配的。
对呀，新配的。
啊，那配这便宜，这个估计
3万多。
啊，那有这钱买4K 不就完了吗？差不了多少钱。
我不知道这个上海买。
你别调那个不准的那么调，你直接调到3400就完了。不是，就直接那个手动那个，对他们都是3375啊，3400，那不是白的。
你这是什么稿子啊？
因为我觉得
机器反正没见过。
这样照例跟后头能给它装死，是不是能给它包进去？没事儿，让儿子高。
谁要给我包进去？
你儿子多高？
现在1.78米。
啊，才1.78米。
3400不行，大哥，你高点儿，
还得高啊。
没长
高点儿，你至少
我儿子都1.88米的。
哎，是吗？
1.88米，他妈是特高。
没有，我也不知道，不是我儿子。
你拉出来看看。
你儿真1.88米，他是爱运动吗？
不是，就是
我那个
特别能睡，一天睡10个小时。
原来我调这儿是3000多。
1.75米。
那你调个3700。
1.68。
那他妈
往下降啊？
那不知道，反正这孩子，我当时说这孩子
均出来1.88米。
他初中时候1.73，73也1.7，然后高中就，
所以我就待会儿
疫情嘛，
原来我就拿上
然后就一
面
直躺，
拿
开电影票就在家睡，然后就从86，从大学直接，
这两
现在都88快90了，我都，咱特高。
现在小孩儿没长高。
我弟弟孩子1.95米，
不吃也不运动，
就睡，他就爱睡觉。
对，多睡觉。
就是那个下班的，每天12点睡到第二天11点。
对，就是睡觉。小孩整个就是。
你就是小时候不睡。
对，
咱儿子又不运动又不
好奇啊。
是横着长是
胖，也没有那么胖。
你看我这调多少那字儿都是蓝的，我调他妈5000都是蓝的。
算了，
你是就3400，3400。
3200，您这破逼机，看人脸都灰不拉的。离谱。不都砍出来这一破机，还说先进，先进个屁！嗨。你先别约呢，我待会儿完事儿之后我给他看看啊。等会儿调声呢，等我待会儿找你。机器我他妈都得研究怎么用。低声道。
音道，我让他们那个到岗吧。
哎，有音乐。 这城在那边。行。你要干嘛？有什么需求？
你们领就行。
猛哥真急。
多少？看一
5.2
下。
吧。孟哥5.2吧。
好久不见。
对。对啊。俩机器，大哥，一个机器。我和主任昨天，你主任都给你打好几个电话。必须的，这副台长都通知的。不是，鹏鹏，你怎么还瘸着呢？
我家说这个活特别大，必须重视。
是什么活？
就这样。
数据吗？你不喊人家？
王阳是54吧？52。
你怎么还瘸着呢？
我要开始骗你了啊！你推导我是。
推导就词儿呗，推导就推导，你能咋地？
对呀，你能咋地？
看见后面还宝马。
都是开了一通。
4个轮子还真不够，是吗？
我后面还一备胎5个。哎，你这开车来了吗？
开了。
发动机其实它也可以拆下来。
我今儿见着刘哥第一句话，我说你还多少人比较？
没有，
人说20多个。
我不延时就差22个。
哎，没赶上延时吗？
我赶上了，他们说你25年，他们说你
对，我们俩都是属羊的。下午我还有6月呢，
下午没活呢。
昨天晚饭吃还得混10几年。
我他妈还有20多年呢。
看面相你可不像。
听我
马上退休了。
不是。好多说看面相未必能熬到退休，我觉得。
董哥，
董哥快了，
这一月
啥都听不见了，我啥都听不见了，就是那个。
那我助理在这儿啊。
那个3级学校。
我刚才领导找了一句。
哎呀，真算。
是不是很
延了多久？
我要延我就是延8个月。
是不是想着离上广场跟老太太跳舞越来越近？
可以不延。
现在
可以不？
现在到广场算年轻人啊，是吧？
我60算中青年人，知道吗？新的标准，
人说了，新标准就是只要有工作能力，就算青年人。
你想想还有什么？
我们这个去西安。
7002不是3700，
就是吃美食去了吗？
全是面条。
嗨，
我一看，哎，不能，你说，
这老师认识，经常看见。他一点车没有，他音乐停了是吧？
对，音乐停了。
对，45里到底是。
这问
说
你旁边那架子你可以可以踢，就
挨这儿就一脚
挨一脚就给蹬了。
这个可以啊，
这可以。
孟哥，今天怎么放边儿了？不是那边吗？
那边他们欺负我，把我给踢走了。
你不是都扎堆那边吗？
不是，那你得欺负回去。他们不讲道理，欺负回去。他们不讲道理。
你给王鑫也这样搬吧。
对。我说哪看我站这边，你也过来。
他也来了，他平常都那边。
对啊。他们不讲道理。
鼠标也是跑这边来了。
那边靠柱子。
正南那边预定。这是11点开门，8点半才开门。
8点40才放人，
是吧？今天8点40不到
8点40开门。
机器人大会。
爆了。8月12号。报完了吗？
你跟谁啊？不是我那摄像师，
我不知道。工程啊。是工程还是料还是什么？反正就他们仨。
你去几天啊
？4天5天。一双。天天跑。
天天是。
我不知道，应该不用天天去吧？去一天。对，去一天。来回打车钱多费。啊？就是因为那个我报完车，那个主任老是不给。每年我跟这不一样，我就是那一周没给了，2周作废。
我也是。
就是吧。对。不是，1天300多，
我也是。
全费了。
我也是。
我还真不知道。开始全国你找多少钱？我看了，我100多，一张100多，你得找几张？分开找，不能一个车。那小一点的票呢？不让贴，不让，不上。
我要是
20、30，哎，这大主意，
你们是
这么多活了吗？ 好，
咱跟他们不一样，他们直接他们不用贴票，他们直接去企业
啊，对，我们还得打出，还他妈得拿这个票。
我们是必须往这车。
啊，对，反正现在好多都是企业。
完事
下半年一开始，然后这样的好，你这才到账。那不是就是那个掌通的那个？就掌通那个。下半年开始，像2000年。我一直在4000，我们的现在4000以上，已经开始了，都有。他们主要是对，你去的。他们还不符合住宿。住宿我们也没有装完图，专门不是我说不是，
他说亦庄那活儿，
对，不住我天天回家，疯了。那谁要那要车上没有？到老板，因为5块钱啊。
什么5块钱？你打我有什么用？关心呢？
嗨，有。下午是的，我朝这个方向。
下午见面。
怎么这样？
这怎么都当了呢？
是。他骄傲，就必须看老年卡，没办法。
这东西是怕掉了，是什么地铁里偷拍的？
就会。
我不会，我干不了这活。
王先生啊，你要一机器人。你是科技。你不知道下午发机器人吗？你要说这个要是
我这我也我他妈我不要去，我给可家里。
那个机器人分到
给你没给你？给了。
就是这出个时候
我感觉全都以前就在香港驻军那就咱那
还有一句
妈的够紧的，
不是，他有多少群？
但凡转一下就得都得是天津。
头目群主，头目人呢？
哎，从你这个下边
这业务是不经意，
对，
是不是就好了？
对，我也觉得是应该风险很高。
你头目那腿脚，我操，他妈走
从这两
动嘛，你一会儿出去买，
他妈的
给你穿
都
一
结束了。
还是一腿长一腿短。
对啊，他俩腿短。
不动。
小门符合，
还是有个，
行吗？
就这样吧。反正我也不动。那我全程直播。
看见一帮老人马上如考中原。
操，这不就是工作乐趣吗？你别碰他啊！但是他们跑过来了，我跟你说，我有哎呦，
你知道为什么会有老刘这么一个岗位啊？稍微是主要是老刘这很美。
这个就长期
开机人又有会客。等我开场完了以后，
也不站开场，
我就是回来摁一下。
对，
我就开场看了一下。
是不是还得拧着点？
他就跳起来打我膝盖。
哎，你真的是个电视机器人了？
哎，你帮他打。
对。
羊毛啊，
哎，你看什么？真牌这个
什么时候怎么来了就结束了？
来了，
刚才看见了，来了。
出席国务院新闻办新闻发布会。今天我们继续进行经济数据的例行发布，我们邀请到国家统计局副局长盛来运先生，请他为大家介绍2025年上半年国民经济运行情况，并回答大家关心的问题。下面我们首先请盛来运先生做介绍。
谢谢主持人，各位记者朋友，大家上午好。很高兴向大家发布国民经济运行的基本情况数据。还是按照惯例啊，我先向大家发布上半年经济运行的情况，然后回答大家的问题。
This year and then take your questions. In the first half of this year, we have met difficulties head-on and made progress while maintaining stability. Under the strong leadership of the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, all regions and departments strictly implemented the decisions and arrangements made by the CPC Central Committee and the State Council, adhered to the general principle of pursuing progress while ensuring stability, fully and faithfully applied the new development philosophy on all fronts, accelerated efforts to create a new pattern of development, coordinated domestic economic work and endeavors internationally, and implemented more proactive and effective macro policies. As a result, the national economy withstood pressure and made steady improvement. The production and demand grew steadily, employment was generally stable, household income continued to increase, new growth drivers witnessed robust development, and high-quality development made new strides. The society has maintained stability on the whole. According to preliminary estimates, the GDP in the first half of this year reached over 66 billion, more than 66,000 billion yuan, up by 5.3% year-on-year at constant prices. By industry, the primary industry was up by 3.7%. Secondary industry up by 5.3%, tertiary 5.5%. By quarter, GDP grew in the first quarter by 5.4% and 5.2% in the second quarter. The GDP for the second quarter increased by 1.1% quarter-on-quarter. First, summer grain witnessed stable production and good harvest, and animal husbandry grew steadily. In the first half this year, the value added of agriculture registered a year-on-year increase of 3.7%, and the first half of the year, the output of pork, beef, mutton, and poultry was up by 2.8% year-on-year. And second, industrial production grew fast, and equipment manufacturing and high-tech manufacturing showed good growth. In the first half of the year, the total value added of large industry enterprises grew by 6.4% year-on-year. In terms of sectors, mining increased by 6%, manufacturing 7%, production and supply of the electricity, heat, power, gas, and water increased by 1.9%. Equipment manufacturing 10.2%. High-tech manufacturing 9.5%. In June, the value added of large industry enterprises went up by 6.8%, or up by 0.5 percentage month-on-month. In June, the manufacturing PMI stood at 49.7%, 0.2 percentage points higher than that of the previous month. Third, growth of service sector accelerated, and modern services enjoyed sound growth. In the first half of the year, the value added of service sector went up by 5.5% year-on-year, 0.2 percentage points faster than that of the first quarter of the year. Specifically, information transmission, software, and information technology services increased by 11.1%. In June, the index of services production increased by 6% year-on-year. In the first 5 months, business revenue of service enterprises, large services enterprises, grew by 8.1% year-on-year. Fourth, growth of market sales picked up, and upgraded goods enjoyed good sales. The total retail sales of consumer goods reached more than 24.5 trillion, up by 5%, 0.4 percentage points faster than that of the first quarter. In urban areas, the figure increased by 5% year-on-year. Rural areas, 4.9%. By consumption patterns, goods increased by 5%, catering 4.3%. Basic living goods and certain upgraded goods enjoyed sound growth. The internet sales, online sales, went up by 8.5%. In June, the total retail sales of consumer goods went up by 4.8%, or down by 0.16% month-on-month. In the first half, the retail sales of services went up by 5.3% year-on-year. Fifth, investment in fixed assets continued to scale up, and investment manufacturing grew fast. In the first half of this year, the investment in fixed assets increased by 2.8% year-on-year. The investment in fixed asset was up by 6.6%, with investment in real estate development deducted. By investment in real estate development declined by 11.2%. The floor space of newly built commercial buildings sold was more than 458 million square meters, down by 3.5% year-on-year. The total sales of newly built commercial buildings were more than 4,000 billion yuan, down by 5.5%. By industry, the investment in the primary industry went up by 6.5%. Secondary industry up by 10.2%. Tertiary industry down by 1.1%. Sixth, imports and exports of goods maintained growth, and trade structure continued to optimize. Consumer prices were stable, and core CPI have been improving or rising steadily or moderately. So Eighth, employment was generally stable and urban surveyed unemployment rate dropped slightly. In the first half of this year, the urban surveyed unemployment rate averaged 5.2%, 0.1 percentage points lower than that of the first quarter. In June, the urban surveyed unemployment rate was 5%. The surveyed unemployment rate of population with local household registration was 5%, and that of population with non-local household registration was 4.8%. The 30 major cities, the surveyed unemployment rate was 5%. The employees of enterprises worked 48.5 hours per week on average. By the end of the second quarter, the number of rural migrant workers totaled more than 191 million. Ninth, household income witnessed stable increase, and income growth of rural households outpaced that of urban households. In the first half of this year, the nationwide per capita disposable income of households was more than 21,000 yuan, a nominal growth of 5.3% year-on-year. The real growth was 5.4% after deducting price factors. In terms of permanent residence, per capita disposable income of urban households increased by 4.7%. In both nominal and real terms. Per capita disposable income of rural households was increased by 5.9%. The median of the nationwide per capita disposable income of households increased by 4.8% year-on-year. Overall, with the more proactive and effective macro policies taking effects in the first half of the year, the national economy maintained steady growth with good momentum, showing a strong resilience and vitality. At the same time, we're aware that there are many unstable and uncertain factors in external environment. The domestic effective demand is insufficient, and the foundation for economic recovery and growth needs to be further consolidated. Going forward, we'll continue to follow the guidance of Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, adhere to the general principle of pursuing progress while ensuring stability, develop a new paradigm of development, and coordinate domestic endeavors and international engagements, unswervingly manage our affairs well, further strengthen domestic circulation, cope with external uncertainties with high-quality development, and promote the sustained, stable, and healthy development of the economy. So that is the economic performance in the first half of the year. Now I will be happy to take your questions. Thank you. Now the floor is open. Please identify your media affiliation before asking a question. Thank you. With CGTN. Since this year, China's economy has been stable against complex environments. What's your comment on China's economy in the first half of this year, and why?
Thank you for your question. This year, the international environment is complex and turbulent. International trade order has been disrupted. Uncertainties and instability was on the rise. Our country faced with increasing challenges and pressures. Under the leadership of CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, different regions and departments fully acted on the decisions made by CPC Central Committee and State Council, coordinate domestic economy and international trade, implement more proactive and effective macroeconomic policy, focus on stabilizing employment, enterprises, market, and expectations. China's economy withstood the pressure and operated smoothly. Major macroeconomic indicators are above expectations. High-quality development, which made solid progress. The economy has maintained stability while achieving progress. I will put it into 4 points. First, the trend of stability continues. This is a major feature of the economic performance in the first half. If you look at the 4 major macroeconomic indicators, we can see growth. In terms of economic growth, the economic growth in first quarter is 5.4% and second quarter 5.2%, increased by 0.5% compared with the same period last year and the last whole year. As you know, that last year the GDP growth was 5%, so there is progress on the basis of stability. In terms of employment, surveyed urban unemployment rate was 5.2%. So it was between 5% to 5.3%, which is quite stable. In terms of prices, CPI has been negative 0.1% for some months, but in June, the core CPI has returned to 0.7%. And international balance of payments have made basic balance. The trading goods have reached record high, and the foreign exchange reserve is above 3.2 trillion US dollars. So the overall trend of stability has not changed. Second, the momentum of progress is solid, while ensuring stable economic growth. Different regions are pursuing economic transformation and high-quality development. According to the data we have, innovative, coordinated, green, open, and shared development have made new progress. The third is new growth momentum is accumulating. Different regions are developing new quality productive forces in a tailored approach and pursuing technological and industrial innovation, new industries, new business forms, new industries are developing. The values added of high tech increased by 9.5%, so that new drivers are accumulating. The fourth, the smooth circulation is improving. Faced with the external challenges, our country further prioritizes strengthening domestic circulation. And we have rolled out a number of policies to expand domestic demand, expand production, and ensure smoother circulation. So the logistical, the human capital, and also capital flow have all been improved. So the domestic consumption reached 52%. And according to the PBOC statistics, at the end of June, the M2 grew by 8.3% year-on-year. So from these four aspects, we can reach a conclusion that is the economy is overall stable in the first half, and we also made progress on the basis of stability. It is a remarkable progress. It is also against the backdrop of turbulent external environment and growing external pressure that does not come by easily. But we should also be clearly aware that the external environment is still complex and fluid. Our internal structural problems have not been eliminated. The fundamentals for economy need to be consolidated. So going forward, we need to follow through on the decisions and instructions made by the central leadership to firm up our confidence, to ensure the circulation, to do our affairs well, ensure the high quality development, to address the external uncertainties with the certainty of China's high quality development, so as to promote sound, solid and long-term progress of the Chinese economy. Whether the MBC provide the information on the final consumption expenditure, net export, and the gross capital data Thank you for your question. So in the first half, the contribution of the final consumption expenditure was 52%. And the gross capital formation was 16.8, and the net export. So in second quarter, the final expenditure was 52.3%. The gross capital formation 24.7%, net export 23%. So from all these data, you can see that domestic demand, in particular consumption, has a great contribution to the growth of GDP. Thank you. What is the reason of the fluctuation of the growth in the first half? And what is the trajectory?
Thank you for the question. In the first half of this year, there is indeed some fluctuation in the investment growth. Several points. First, although the nominal growth of investment moderated in the first half of this year, but if we deduct price factors, the actual growth of fixed asset investment actually was stable or steady, and there's improvement in the structure. In the first half of this year, we have more than 24.9 trillion and a nominal growth of 2.8%. But we all know that this year, construction material dropped a lot in their prices, and if we deduct the pricing or price factors, fixed asset investment actually increased by 5.3%. And compared with the same period last year, it is only 0.3% lower than that, and compared with the whole year last year, it actually increased by 0.5 percentage points. So it's not a big drop, as one might see from the nominal decline. And if we deduct the price factors, the actual work is not low, and the structure of investment is improving. Investment in manufacturing increased by 7.5%, accounting for 25.2%, and that's 0.6 percentage higher than the same period last year. And also investment in high-tech services increased by 8.6%. It's also higher than the overall investment in fixed asset. So you can tell the structure is improving. And the second point I want to make is that the fluctuation or the moderation of investment increase is a result of practical factors and deep underlying issues. If we look at the practical issues, it's mostly because of the complex external environment and also downward pricing factor domestically. The companies are more prudent in making new investment. If we look at the underlying factors, it has to do with the development stage that China is at. At the new stage, the models or ways of growth are transforming, and there's a shift or transition of the growth drivers from traditional ones to new ones. The investment in traditional industries is getting saturated, and investment, say, in the real estate sector has been declining in the first half of this year. So these traditional sectors are going through transformation, and in the short term, there will be a downward pressure on investment. So we need to take things into perspective. The third point I want to make is that there's still big potential in fixed asset investment. we need to fully incentivize private investment. Well, the slowdown or moderation in investment doesn't mean there's no space or potential for further investment. As we pursue high-quality development, there is still huge potential in fixed asset investment. The new quality productive forces are growing, and there's need for upgrading and retrofitting, and also the weak areas in livelihood needs to be shored up. So all these need new investment. So we need to centering on the high quality development, improve investment structure and the environment for investment, fully incentivize private investment to sustain the sound development of or growth of investment. Thank you. Thank you. In recent years, we've seen measures to stabilize the real estate. How do you assess the operation of the real estate market in the first half of the year? What are the positive developments?
Thank you for your question. This year, different regions and departments, they follow the instructions of the central leadership and the requirements, introduce city-specific policies to stabilize the real estate market. According to our statistics, these policies have yielded clear effects. In the first half, although there is a fluctuation, but it is heading toward the direction of stabilization. So the effects are mainly shown in three aspects. First, transactions. The number of transactions has improved, and the decline in commercial housing sales is contracted. In the first half, the size of the newly constructed commercial housing reduced by 3.5%, and this number is down 15.5% from same period last year, and 9.4% down from the last whole year. And the sales reduced, the decline of sales reduced 19.5% from the same period last year and 11.6% down from the last whole year. So the transaction is active in terms of commercial housing, especially second-hand housing. There is growth in the sales of commercial housing. Second, the decline of how the prices has contracted. In some small cities, there is small growth. So, judging from the numbers from the 70 major and small cities, there are fluctuations in terms of housing prices, but the drop has contracted compared with last year. In first tier, second tier, and third tier cities, the decline in prices dropped by 0.3% compared with last month. The third, the capital of real estate companies have improved with the support of white list policy and the warming of the market. The debt resolution is making new progress. In first half, the actual capital of real estate companies, the decline dropped by 16.4% compared with same period last year and dropped 10.8% compared with last whole year. Domestic loans grew by 0.6% year on year. As you know, last year it was 6.7%. In cutting excessive inventories, we also made progress. At the end of June, the size of commercial housing that is to be sold reduced by 4.79 million square meters compared with May, and there has been decline for 4 consecutive years. So overall, there has been good effects of the policies, and the market was stable. But we have also to see that the development and construction of real estate and sales is still going down, and we are still at the period of transformation of the market. So we have to make greater efforts for the stabilization of the real estate market. Thank you. Thank you. New quality productive forces is an important focus of promoting high-quality development. This year, different localities are actively fostering new quality productive forces. Could you share with us the development of the new productive forces? Thank you for your question. As you said, new quality productive forces are an intrinsic requirement and important focus of promoting high-quality development. So the central leadership attach great importance on developing new quality productive forces to encourage different regions to develop the new quality productive forces. So different localities are making innovations, including industrial and technological innovation, to upgrade the traditional industries. So in the first half this year, it is growing and upgrading. So there are the following aspects that shows the progress we have made. First, the outcomes of innovation keep emerging. Different localities are investing more in R&D. Well, China's R&D expenditure covers 2.7% of the GDP. It exceeds the average level of the EU and is next to the average of the OECD countries. The effective invention applications reached nearly 5 million and up by 12.8%. This is quite a fast speed, and a large number of innovation outcomes are drawing attention from the people worldwide. You may be aware that from DeepSeek, large model, to robot marathons, from aerospace to self-driving vehicles, all these innovative outcomes have drawn wide attention from the international community. Second, the emerging industries are thriving. As I said in the briefing, the value added of new technology grew by 9.5%. High-tech services grew by nearly 10%. So all these innovation outcomes, they integrated with the industries and drive the development of the high-tech industries. Third, digital economy is developing rapidly. We are in the era of digital era. AI is accelerating, and digital technology is an important production factor. Different places are promoting the digital development of the economy. There is a figure. The digital economy's share in core GDP growth is 10%. It's among the leading countries of developed countries. And fourth, the green development is seeing higher quality and efficiency. Different countries are implementing the new development philosophy and promoting green development. The new energy vehicle, lithium battery, and solar panel, these are our innovation outcomes. They are maintaining high-speed growth. Like new NEVs grew by 30% in the first half, lithium batteries 40%, reaching 53%. So all these new energy industries are keeping rapid growth. That is what we say lucid waters and large mountains are invaluable assets. Fifth, the upgrading of traditional industries are accelerating. This year, different places are upgrading their traditional industries, in particular supported by China's major strategy, major areas, policies, and the upgrading of equipment and trading of consumption goods. Different places are doing Internet plus, AI plus, digital plus initiatives to upgrade the traditional industry. So from these 5 perspectives, in the first half this year, new quality productive forces are accelerating its development. Thank you. CNBC, some analysts are worried that because of the subsidies of the consumption goods trading, the consumption after June will slow down. So what is your expectations on consumption and what factors will propel consumption?
Thank you. It's a good question. Before we look at the economic prospect in H2, I would like to brief you first on the H1 performance, because that will help you better understand the features and supports of our consumer market and have a clear understanding of our future development in consumer markets. We really had a good performance in the consumer market. We saw month-on-month increases in H1. The total retail sales of consumer goods reached 24.55 trillion yuan, supporting economic growth. The amount was around 24.6 trillion yuan, up by 5% year-on-year. And in Q2, the year-on-year increase was 5.4%, 0.8 percentage points higher than Q1. So there was much progress. And that was the highlight. And there are also some highlights to be focused on. First, consumer in services are speeding up. Service retail sales grew by 5.3%, showing an improvement in structure. And second is holiday consumption, which is driving up economy. In the Spring Festival, in the May Day holiday, and Dragon Boat Festival, we can feel that people are going out for tourism, and relative cultural and tourism consumption remained a double-digit growth. Third, upgrade consumption is speeding up. People are now more focused on consumption for emotional fulfillment and consumption for sports equipment, which saw increase of 22% increase, and 11% of increase year-on-year for gold jewelry. Also, green and smart consumption are more popular. Like I said, NEVs sales remained fast and sound. And energy-efficient home appliances also grew in H1 for double-digit. And also, tourism and shopping in China are becoming a hit. With China exempting visas to more countries, more and more people are coming to this country, and drives up domestic consumption. International tourists enjoying the visa-free policy grew by 72.7% in May Day holiday. And if we look at a trend, new models of consumption are growing, such as the consumption for emotional fulfillment and diversified consumption. They are very popular. So that is why we say that with the help of policies to boost consumption, our consumer market is more dynamic, with a momentum for growth. And that also shows that in H2, we will have a strong support for growth. And the momentum will sustain in H2. Also, we will going to continue our policies for boosting consumption. Authorities have announced that the second batch for boosting consumption will be launched. And new measures will be rolled out to boost consumption. And now we're at a critical juncture of consumption upgrade. Per capita GDP was $1.3 trillion last year. So at this critical moment, culture, at a moment of popular consumption in elderly care, in tourism, and in culture, we really embrace a brighter future. And we have a huge market. We have a huge population. But of course, there are still differences in different regions. And we still lag behind in terms of consumption with developed countries. So China still has a broad space for growth. We have potential, and we're confident. Of course, we're aware that for sustained development of consumption, we have to improve people's ability to consume. So we're really rolling out relative measures and policies in this regard. Next, subnational governments will follow through the directives on boosting of the Central Party Committee on boosting consumption to increase quality supply, improve the environment of consumption, and sustainable development of the market. Thank you. Thank you. I believe that people care about our economic prospect in H2. I am also reading relative materials, and I noticed that investment banks and international organizations released their outlook reports on economies. Many of them estimated that slower economic growth for most majorities of economies, but they revised upward China's growth rate estimates. So that really shows that the international organizations and the investment banks are confident in China's economy. In the future, we still face uncertainties externally and pressure domestically for adjustments and transition. But generally speaking, China's economy will maintain stability. We can see that in H1, the good performance will set a good foundation for the year-round goal. We maintained stability while seeking progress, and our economy is resilient. This kind of momentum will sustain. And our GDP has already reached 5.3% of growth. So that is also a good foundation. Second, high-quality development is universally recognized to build new driving forces, rebalance the economy, and ensure sustainable development in a risk-proof economy. Since the 18th Party Congress, we have been committed to new development philosophy and promoted high-quality development that brings about historic achievements and transformation. We have tasted the fruit of high-quality development. And we believe that the current situation will compel entities to have economic transition and rebalancing. And if we look at the leading indicators and the positive factors, we can see that there are improvements and good momentum of economic growth. So if we look at the production, after years of transition, service sector has more contribution to economic growth. Its contribution has reached around 60%. And if we look at the leading indicators, expectation indices for services are in expansion. So big industries will keep growing. And if we look at demand, consumption is now the backbone of growth. I brief you on the consumer market's dynamism. And I believe that in H2, the consumer market will continue to grow. In terms of export, we are diversifying our opening up metrics. And the share of import from and export to the single market has dropped to a single unit. These achievements were all made against complex external environments. And if we look at new driving forces, the new driving forces are all growing fast. So generally speaking, in H2, high-quality development and stable economic development are evident. Macro policies, in addition, will safeguard the economy. Into this year, China has taken more proactive and effective macro policies, serving as the foundation for economic growth. Next, we will follow through the directives of the Central Party Committee to roll out more measures for stabilizing economic performance. And relative authorities also said that China has a rich toolkit and will enrich its policy options and launch proper ones in different situations. So to sum up, in H2, China's economy will seek progress while ensuring stability. And I think that is also the reason why international organizations are optimistic about China's economy. Thank you. Next one.
Thank you for the question. For some time, in some certain industries and companies, there have been growing involuted competition. The sixth meeting of the Central Commission for Financial and Economic Affairs, held on July the 1st, has pointed out that it is important to promote the building of a unified national market, focus on key points, difficult points, regulate the disorderly price competition among companies in accordance with law and regulations, guide companies to improve the quality of products, and work toward an orderly elimination of outdated productivity. Relevant departments is implementing the guiding principle of the meeting and making plans to strengthen governance. I believe that this will be conducive to regulate the market order, improve the balance between supply and demand, the growth of price, the improvement of market business operation, and strengthen the vitality of the entities. Thank you. In the interest of time, we now take two last questions. Thank you for this question. High tariffs surely increase the cost of trade, so it do no good for the growth of trade and economic growth. This year, in the face of the changing external environment and pressure, the Chinese government has responded to the changes and act proactively. We prioritize the expansion of domestic circulation and make great efforts to implement the more proactive macroeconomic policies to expand domestic demand and boost consumption. That means we need to run our own affairs well and address the uncertainties of external environment with the certainties of China's economy. In terms of strengthening the domestic circulation and promoting stable economic growth, we take comprehensive steps. First, we increase the support of fiscal policies. As I said, fiscal policies are more supportive to support the trade-in campaigns. And besides, the fiscal policies support the upgrading of industrial equipments and facilities. So these measures play a very positive role in promoting economy. As I said, it's effective in expanding domestic demand, as domestic demand is the main source of growth in the first half. On the other hand, we are expanding our high standard opening up to expand our circle of friends, to diversify our trade and reduce reliance on any single market, reduce such risks. So with all these steps and policies, we can see that they are very effective. And we are also confident that as we continue to implement all these policies to boost consumption, investment, and foreign trade, they will be beneficial for promoting economic growth. Thank you. Now we take one last question. Thank you. In June, the CPI stopped its 4-month decline, and the core CPI has grown and reached a new height. So what is your expectations for the inflation in the second half?
Thank you. Prices have much to do with people's consumption as well as economic growth. So it's everybody's concern. So I would like to talk about my observations. First, in June, CPI showed a positive sign. The result of many factors. In June, CPI increased by 0.1% after 4 months of negative 0.1%. So it's the first time of increase. And it shows that we have done a great job in boosting consumption, controlling prices. And the positive change in CPI in June is credited to higher prices of industrial consumer goods. consumer goods supported by trading programs such as home appliances, office devices all grew, and driving up 0.2 percentage points higher of CPI increase. Affected by international markets, CPI will also change. For example, the higher international oil prices, domestic gasoline prices increased, narrowing the month-on-month decline of energy prices. And higher prices of heavy metals, such as gold and platinum, also contributed to stabilizing CPI. Also in June, we saw rainy and hot days. Vegetable supplies and aquatic products supplies were affected, so that their prices also bounced back. All these factors supported the positive change of CPI, and we believe is a good sign. Second, low prices recently are a structural thing as well as a periodic thing. And that was very clear in H1. In H1, CPI dropped by around 0.4 percentage points because of the prices of food and energy. Food prices dropped by 0.9% year-on-year, and energy prices dropped by 3.2%. The two combined took down CPI by 0.4 percentage points. Excluding food and energy, core CPI increased by 0.4%. And in June, it rose by 0.7%. So from these, we can see that it's a structural thing. And at the same time, it is a periodic thing. The current low CPI is the result of complexity situations home and abroad, but also the result of China's development phase. We're now at the key stage of transition and adjustments. Prices of real estate-related materials such as cement and steel are undergoing adjustments. At the same time, new growth engines are expanding, such as high-tech manufacturing. The prices of these things are growing. But currently, the price increases in these industries are not sufficient enough to offset the drop of prices in certain sectors. We face the need to phase out backward capacities. Also, external environments are pressuring our domestic price adjustment. So low prices are also a periodic thing. And people may be concerned about the prices in H2. We believe that prices in H2 are expected to grow moderately, because the economy remained stable generally, with expanding demand, paving the way for stable prices. In addition, policies, especially policies to boost domestic consumption and domestic demand will be further effective. This will also further drive up prices. Second, a central conference required lawful measures against cutthroat low-price competition, which is conducive to improving market environments and order. So recently, cement and PV, glass, and other industries are strengthening self-discipline. Additionally, holidays and festivals in H2 will also meet higher demand of consumption. We have a National Day holiday and Middle-Autumn Festival, as well as the New Year Festival. This will also will also drive up prices. And lastly, technically speaking, the base effect of Q4 last year will also lead to higher CPI year-on-year increase. So we estimate that moderate growth of CPI will be the trend. Thank you. And that's the end of today's press conference. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah.